why not have it the most efficient, proper, clean way of doing it? Where I'll go so far as to say is that if enough, I don't know if I can do the series, but if enough people, it might save lives.
It's not gonna save lives.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
You're now listening to the CybrCast.
Most people down south have one car. So if you're into sports cars, muscle cars, tuner cars, whatever,
Yeah.
you could probably get away with owning one vehicle. We're up
For
here,
sure.
if you want it to be decent, you have to have two cars.
I mean, minimum. Like I was talking to my buddy the other day, where it's like I like to have a sports car, I like to have a winter beater, and I have to have like a car that gets good gas mileage, like a daily. So usually I have like an Accord, a Jeep, and then some sort of sports car. And it's like the only reason I do that is to be able to like not kill all my other cars, like because I can't drive the Miata. I could drive the Miata in the winter, but I would rather not. It's in nice
Right.
shape and everything. But like then you want a 4-wheel drive so you can like go places if it gets really shitty out. And then you want something good, like where I live, I live 40 minutes from everything all the time. And it's like, I want something that gets good gas mileage so I can come in back and forth without spending a fortune on stuff.
Yeah.
Down there, it's like everything's so compiled. And like I was saying, you can invest in the stuff where it's like, I could buy a newer BMW, I could buy a Lexus, I could do that and not have to worry about like it rotting in 4 years. And I could buy it rear wheel drive. You could buy a nice BMW and not have to worry about the snow.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. It's a different world. And it's sad because it's almost like if you want to have a decent car up here, decent car that you can enjoy, sports car, whatever, even if you're like into like Jeeps that you want to keep clean, like you have to make a decent amount of money, I feel like, because you have to have other vehicles to go to.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's why the car cultures are so different down there. Where like you can have the guy that works a part-time job, but he's got his boosted Civic that he's put 20 grand into over the last 4 years because he just puts on, all right, I'm going to put an intercooler on this summer. I'll put on this during the winter. I'll do this. And he's just constantly driving it, constantly working out the bugs and stuff. And then, he's just got, I mean, it's insane down there. Like when I mean, you've been down to Florida and Tampa area and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
That car scene is insane. Like the Gandy Bridge and stuff like that, where I mean, that's where like they come up with a lot of the term where they, Cletus calls it Mexico or whatever, where it's that Gandy Bridge where there's no way to stop it really. I mean, they've put lights up there, they've put cameras up there, but they block one end and then they block the other end and they just race like crazy. And it's like, it still goes on. Like Wednesday nights, they still have like Gandy race nights. I haven't been down there in a while to see it, but it's insane. It's like totally crazy. It reminds me of like Charlotte when we used to go. I don't know. Did you ever go up to Charlotte back in the day?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, that was a different world. When I was young, I mean, when I was out of high school, just getting into college, right? I was probably freshman, sophomore in college, and we would go down to the beach, and it would be like, as funny as it is to say, it would be like going to a Fast and Furious movie in real life.
It really was. Or when because usually the way I remember doing it, it might have been different for you, is we'd start in Henrietta. We'd always go to the Henrietta stuff first, where we'd go over to Southtown. And then we'd go from Southtown up to Charlotte.
Is that where Buffalo Wild Wings was, Southtown Plaza?
That was the
by
one
RIT, right?
So yeah. So over in that area, yeah. So Southtown, there was like a couple. There was like two of them right there because there was the Southtown. Like they're right next to each other though.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I just remember the days of like Ricer pulling in and being like, "Holy shit, Ricer's here!" And then you'd have all the people playing their reggae tone over there, and everybody's doing burnouts over here. People are doing money races over here down the strip and stuff. And then it's like once the cops broke that up, everybody left and went to Charlotte, and they just did the same thing over again until they broke it up and took off again.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we were very fortunate that nothing serious happened to us when we were young. You know what I mean? Like any of that kind of stuff. But it was a different world, and I think the car community was at a different place then. Like people were competitive and stuff, and I know they still are about their brands and this and that. But I think that they were much more inviting to people outside of their, like if you were a Honda guy, you could still appreciate somebody that pulled up in a Mitsubishi or something else, and there was kind of that camaraderie. And I mean, hell, they had the car teams and all that stuff.
I mean, for real. I mean,
So
they
it was
still do that kind of stuff, kind of, but I feel like every time I go to it, it's like a bunch of Volkswagens all together, just kind of like vaping and hanging out in the freaking mall parking lot. Like they're not like, I mean, it
let's
was crazy. It's like it's nothing like it used to be. Like I've been to a few of them in the last like year, 2 years, and it was just like it's not the same. Or like I said, it's like more about like stance. And I mean, I legitimately remember me being a part of a couple races, being like, all right, well, for YouTube, it wasn't me, it was a friend of mine, but
friend of mine,
guys
yeah.
would come up to me like, hey, let's just see what we can do and just race it down there. And then there would be people at one end, letting things going on. And then you just all night, you just see people going up and down racing that crap. And like, I don't feel like there's like anything like that much anymore but down in Florida it is. And I feel like it's almost like New York being like kind of like a babysitter state with everything where it's like they've almost like the terrorists have won almost. Where like you get the freaking money for how much you're like how expensive a exhaust ticket is now or like
Uh-huh.
tint, they just make it not fun to want a nice car around here because like not only you only have a short season to do it, but then the fines are insane. Like I mean down in Florida, I mean one of my last vivid memories before I moved back home to New York, I was driving back home from work and I got scared and startled. Like, what the hell is this? Just drove by me. Like, it shook my car. And it was a Miata with like a blower like this sitting out the top of it and a straight pipe that went up like 5 feet up over the car. And it was like the most loud, obnoxious, crazy car I've ever seen in my life. And that's just like daily life down there. Like, they're not going to get pulled over for it. Like, literally, the rules down in Florida is like you have to register it, which is like literally you just go to the DMV and say, hey, here's my car. Here what it is. Headlights, turn signals, and that might be it. Like a horn, maybe. Like there's little things that you have to do. And it's like that, and then it can go on the road. I mean, Cletus puts his tank on the road. He's got a freaking tank that goes on the road.
Does he really
And
have a tank?
it's called a ripsaw. It's called the
I want to look
ripsaw.
at
And
it.
he dude, it's amazing. He's got his ripsaw that he I think Kanye used to own it at one time. And
Rip,
he drives his
Ripsaw
ripsaw
tanks.
on the road in Florida. And he also, I mean, he's got his like Dale truck where he's got a legit at one time Dale Earnhardt painted NASCAR truck that it wasn't Dale Earnhardt that drove it, but it was like it's painted like Dale Earnhardt's car. And it came off the track, it was in a museum or some guy had it. He put on headlights, taillights, turn signals, and now it's a street car in Florida. And it's a legitimate like NASCAR race car.
The Ripsaw, it says, I'm just on the website. I believe Ripsaw F4 is what comes up. It's made by Howie and Howie, or How and
Yeah.
How. I don't know how you want to say it.
Yeah.
Top speed is 55 miles an hour. Vehicle weight 10,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Turning radius 8 feet and ground clearance 20 inches. But I just want to look in the gallery now. Oh my God.
They're amazing.
That is a full on tank.
It's a legitimate tank. I mean, it's no joke. I mean, he drives over cars and stuff, but he's got several videos of him like going to McDonald's and stuff like that, where it's legal down there. That's what I'm saying. Where like you can have a different scene down there just because of the laws, regulations, and it's almost like it's like encouraged down there. Like when I'm down in Florida, it reminds me like the Wild Wild West, where it's like everything's like go as you please. Like it's amazing down there.
But
with, like, cars
there's
and
got to
stuff.
be a happy medium, right? Like I think there's got to be a happy medium. And in Florida, yes, I agree with you. It is like the Wild West. I mean, if you lived through COVID and the whole
Yeah.
pandemic and stuff like that, you just knew that just based on how they were doing things down there.
Yeah.
But it's like there's got to be a happy medium because I understand that bad people ruin things for good people, right?
Mhm.
So you look at things that you and I are into, obviously the cars and bikes and all that kind of stuff. And I think some of it comes with maturity. You get a little bit older, you get smarter
for sure.
about what you should and shouldn't do, but still you want to be able to enjoy those things. Like I've owned the Eclipse now for I think 15 years, 16 years, something like that, long time.
Yeah.
And I'll never change that car. Like, there's
Mhm.
nothing I would ever change on that because I built it with my dad. It's sentimental. It's value. I don't race the car. I don't do anything stupid in the car. So I think if they were to pull me over, and like, here's a guy in his mid 30s, and like, first of all, why is he driving this thing? Like, why would he be driving this? But like, second of all, like, do we really want to like? He's not doing anything. Right,
Yeah.
but the exhaust, yes, the exhaust doesn't pass inspection. The car is lowered, it's modified.
Yeah.
The freaking thing used to be front wheel drive and now it's all wheel drive. But like those are things that I'm not going to change no matter what. So
Mhm.
I have to be penalized because of it versus people that are, like you said, in Florida in the Wild Wild West, and they can just do whatever and get away with whatever.
I think what hurts it the most, and I think hurts everything, is like when I really think about all of it, it's like, honest to God, it's like New York City. Like when you have a big city like that, I would probably be pissed off too if I was, living in somewhere in Brooklyn or something like that. And they have so many cars driving by, and every single one was loud. Like every single one was stupid loud and stupid obnoxious and like that. I'd probably get sick of it too. Maybe not actually, because I really like cars and all that. So it probably wouldn't bug me too much. But 90% of the people in the world don't really give a shit. Like they just want to go from A to B in their car. And like it's no different than gun laws. I mean, New York City ruins it for the rest of the state, where there's so many people and there's so many problems that can happen that it. I understand why that they don't have all this stuff going on down there with all that, and like it just ruins it for everything. Where I mean, could you imagine like living in New York City and every car that drives by is some like whooped out freaking Civic with a fart can on it, and you're trying to sleep and it's 3 a.m. and
Yeah.
I mean that would change things too. We're like down in Florida and stuff. I mean, things were loud, but it's not like, nothing's that like too close centered and stuff like that, where anywhere you go, it's like even downtown Tampa or St. Pete. And it was like, things are close, but not like anything like New York City and all that.
Not New York City close. And like you said, 3 a.m. when a freaking, I don't care if it's a Civic or if it's some guy in his Lamborghini off Wall Street that's ripping down.
Saying.
It's like
it's going to be annoying.
Yeah.
I think that's where those laws come from. I think is you get those like quiet laws and whatever, where it's not around here. It's not where I'm living. It's probably not where you're living, where, every once in a while I get a loud ass car, a loud ass truck driving by my house. And I feel like most cops really don't care. And I think it's just one of those things that like, if you get pulled over doing something stupid, it's just like an extra expense where it's like, you were going 80 to 35. Oh, cool. Well, your exhaust is bad. Your tint's pissing me off. They just add everything onto it where,
well, plus it comes down to too, like how nice you are to the cop.
100%.
Right? If you're a young kid who's got a chip on his shoulder and whatnot versus somebody that's like, you know what, you're right, apologize. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it goes a long way.
A lot of problems with a lot of people, or there's a lot of times where just being like just treating them like you would treat anybody else.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. Let's face it, for most people, planning your dinners out ahead of time can be a real hassle. Not only are trips to the grocery store time consuming, but I found myself walking down an aisle thinking, what kind of meal can I actually put together this week? But thankfully, our sponsor HelloFresh helps you reduce the stress of planning out your dinners. HelloFresh meals arrive weekly, right to your door, with everything that you need to make a delicious and healthy meal. Between the high quality ingredients sourced directly from the farm or the easy to follow one-page instructions that come with every meal, you really can't beat the simplicity of HelloFresh. Every meal comes packaged together. It's an easy to store kit that fits perfectly right in the fridge. And don't worry about having too much food left over. My experience says with all my meals, I felt full without feeling like I've overeaten or had too much leftovers. And each week I get to choose from 30 plus different meal options, including recipes for meat and veggies, fit and wholesome, quick and easy, and even family friendly. So you just pick out how many people you need to serve that week and how many meals you actually want to have. And if you don't like the protein option that comes in one of the recipes, HelloFresh makes it super easy to either swap it out or upgrade to the protein of choice. And it gets even easier with the HelloFresh Market. It offers breakfast bites, savory soups, awesome snacks, and even really satisfying desserts. Getting started has never made more sense. Because of their sponsorship to this channel, you can use the link in the description below to get 16 free meals across your first 7 boxes, as well as 3 surprise gifts. Fresh, affordable, chef-created meals right to your door. Be sure to check out HelloFresh. Now back to the show.
Bidets, save the day.
We're back to the bidets, man. I tell you what about the bidets. All right, so I have a confession to make because as I was recording this, I realized that the audio was not working for the first little bit. So we will go back to the bidet talk for a second here. Okay. So Feed told me at the beginning, a bidet, go ahead, tell me again, because you said it's a big deal.
It'll change your life. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that you call it date of birth DOB. No, it'll be date of bidet.
Oh,
your DOB,
okay.
Your new
all
DOB.
Right. You've gone too far now. There's no way. There's no way.
You will celebrate your yearly anniversary with the bidet. Your DOB, your new date of birth.
Why? I don't understand why. Is it okay? Let me ask you this without getting into details. Is it that it's convenient?
All right, this is how I like to try to explain it. You go through a big mud pile with your truck Do you take a dry piece of paper towel and wipe it off, or do you use a hose and wipe the rest of it off? I
It's
don't
like
think you take the dry paper towel.
that's the best and worst analogy I've ever heard. Yeah, I guess I'd use a hose of some
Yeah,
kind.
that's
And
what.
yeah,
Okay, that's about all you got to think about.
okay,
It's
all right.
convenient. It's time consuming. You just feel better. Like I swear to you. Like I swear to you. Like when I send you yours, that you will you just feel cleaner. You just feel like it's so much better in every way. Like there isn't, to me, I don't think there's a downside. I don't think there's really a negative. Like I don't. Only negative is you'll never want to go to the bathroom unless there's a bidet somewhere. That's the only thing that's going to change your
Which is
life.
going to be my issue from now on.
It's
Is
going to
that
be
if
an issue. It's going to be an issue.
oh god, now
It's
I'm thinking we're going to Nova Scotia. Like, should we look for a hotel or an Airbnb that has a bidet offering?
Honestly, God, if I had Airbnb or anything like that, that would be like one of my first bulletins. We're like, no joke. We should get, when we talk about the big time bidet, when we have the real sit down talk about it after you've made your purchase, after we do that, we should have guest appearance from Hein to give his two thoughts on it.
All right.
He literally fought me tooth and nail for like 2 or 3 years of like, I'm not doing that. No, I don't do that. He legitimately, Tia too. I mean, if you think of anybody in my tight circle here,
Oh,
Kelsey just had a
please. That is the
Don't talk
worst
about your tight
time to
circle.
say my tight circle. Please.
Oh man, but like even Kelsey had her friend stay up like 2 weeks ago. She stayed at our house for a week to vacation and stuff. She used the bidet and she sent me a Snapchat before she got back down to Florida. When she went down there, she had already had a bidet and put it on in her toilet, or she had it delivered there before she got down there. And the first thing she did when she got home was put the bidet on.
Now, you and I have talked about business opportunities in the past, and now the first thing that's popping into my mind is if it is this life changing, and we ever went into the business of like doing Airbnbs or
Yeah.
property rentals or stuff like that, you're telling me that one of the end all be alls to attracting people to rent will be the bidet.
100%. Like I am not kidding you right now that if I was getting an Airbnb, which we do a couple times a year and stuff like that, and they put as a bulletin like bidet, like after like amenities and stuff like that, and bidet was on there, that would immediately move to the first place. I'd go to a crappy area of the town just to have a bidet.
Just to
I'd
have a
stay next to
bidet.
I'd stay next to an airport to have a bidet.
That is a statement.
I don't even think I'm making that up. If I had the choice of like, dude, I mean, it is. I'm serious though. Like if I end up ever getting like a rental property, like you're saying, like that and all that kind of stuff, bidet
Yeah.
is without a doubt going on like top 3 things. Like nice neighborhood, off street parking, wash your butt real easy. That would be that would be right on there. I would be like, oh, bidet, yeah, I'll definitely be into that. That's definitely something I'd want to be a part of.
And
like,
you did mention off audio, off the podcast, that or at least before I was recording, that Walmart might be a good business opportunity.
I don't know if we want to talk about this before we have our lawyers involved. There might be somebody from uppers in the Walmart industry that I really think that, like you said, or I was saying, like at a macro scale of just like a big scale of like toilet paper usage down, employees are probably more satisfied. You can go to work. Like I literally hate going to work knowing if I have to use the bathroom that I don't have a bidet. Like,
But that's because you use one, and I feel like, so you're telling me that people don't understand what they're missing.
They don't know what they're missing. Like you literally, if you don't use them, like I've yet to find someone that's used one. The only time I've ever had a complaint with somebody about one of my friends that I recommended a bidet was that they were too powerful. And that was like, that's more your piping issue, or like and it's like adjustable. Or like you can like,
by the way,
you don't have
these all have like double meanings. That's more your piping issue. Like, okay.
But that was the only issue I've ever heard, is that like it was spraying too hard. When it's like, got to use a super soaker up there. I mean, it's a different, different velocities you can use on the spray that goes on. But other than that, I have never met anybody that I've given one. Like I said, I give them as wedding gifts. That's like my number one wedding gift, where I give a pretty nice bidet, a card, and some money, and it's like like the biggest hit. Every time there's they send me a thank you card, it's always like, holy crap, this thing like changed my life. This thing's life changing. Like no
The
joke. Like
the tag for this episode is going to be wedding gift ideas.
and a 10-foot charging cable. If I could for under $100, I think it probably even under $75.
Yeah.
Trying to think of, you could 10-foot charging cables and a bidet. And
Because
that
you
would
said
be a
that.
great
Because you said a decent bidet would cost you how much?
$35-40 for just I mean, you don't got to get anything fancy. I mean, like I said, the sky's the limit. Where I have a buddy in Florida where I turned him on just to the regular $40 one, but this kid's got buku dollars. I mean, this kid's got money like I've never seen before. And he ended up buying after that one. It was so awesome. He bought one of the standalone like Kohler freaking like $2,000 bidets that like it's got like a drying, there's like a drying nozzle where it blows air. It's got like different types of nozzles. It's heated. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the kid, it
Wow.
changes his life. It's a life changer.
So my other question is, are you a squatty potty user? Because people love that thing too, apparently.
Yeah. For the one where my toilet is in my house right now, the one downstairs, I don't use that one that much for boo boo. But when I'm upstairs, the squatty potty doesn't fit between the radiator and the toilet very well. But I do have one down in the downstairs that I use when I go down there. But it's squatty potties are great. I mean, they're awesome. I mean, they make sense too. I mean, if you're looking to, I mean, really, when you think about it, a decent amount of time is spent doing your business, and why not have it the most efficient, proper, clean way of doing it? Where I'll go so far as to say is that if enough, I don't know if I can do the series, but if enough people, it might save lives.
It's not gonna save lives.
Hear me out. You have an infection and you accidentally you get some of the particles where the particles aren't supposed to be, and it prevents a further infection. It could save a life. It could save a life. It really could.
You got you on a camping trip, you got poison ivy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You want to prevent hands free. So BMW, if you're listening, this is your next hands-free subscription-based service.
But I mean, that's one of the things too, is like, it is a way more sanitary thing where, you're not accidentally tearing through the toilet paper. I can't even stop laughing at this right now.
This is great.
But really though, I'm serious. Like, it's definitely more sanitary where there's like, you spray, you got to dry off still. We're like, that's one of my favorite stories ever. My one buddy came over and he's a big hunter, and we got a lot of hunting land behind my house. And after he was done hunting, he's like, hey man, can I use your bathroom real quick? I got to test out that bidet. I'm like, hell yeah, man, go for it. He goes upstairs, use the bidet, and he comes downstairs. He's just like dripping all over himself, or like his back of his ass is just all wet. And I'm like, did you do a check wipe to make sure that everything was all? He goes, you do that still? And I'm like, yes, you do that still. Like, you dry off and you do a check wipe just in case. Like, it's insane. That's so like one of the best.
He came out like he came out of a shower. Then he was soaking wet.
He was clean as could be. Honestly, clean as could be. Just had a little drippage going on. Where, I mean, like I said, it's life changing. I'm not making that up. Where there's a lot there where, like I said, there's business opportunities. I mean, I bet we could buy, I bet we could go on Alibaba and buy a 500 thing of Chinese bidets, which is probably what they're doing on Amazon anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
And we could just put like our own skins on them, and we could do our own engraving. We could even get like personal bidets and stuff like that. It would be, there's money to be made. It's like, I think I look at you not having a bidet. I do judge you a little bit. I know you're not as clean. I know you're not that clean. I know you're not that clean.
I could take 4 showers a day. You don't know.
Well,
I don't take 4 showers a day, but
I know that it is definitely more sanitary. It's easier. You feel better. Like, there's never a time where like there is no mud butt to be had. Like, there is no more wiper. Like, you get those wipes where it's like you're wiping with a marker, where it just keeps going and going and going. No more of that. There's
wiping with a marker. These lines are gold. So
But the
let me transition off of the bidet
okay.
because you hit a good idea there, and I wanted to talk about it with you. And we've talked about this before, just you and I, but business opportunities, because I think we might be in one of the most interesting times as far as the amount of opportunities out there to do. I don't care if you want to call it side hustles. I don't want to know if you want to call it like main. That's your main income, but you're doing several different things.
Yeah, yeah.
But the amount of videos that I've seen, TikToks, YouTube Shorts, all this kind of stuff, and like that's the next big thing is people getting audiences based on. Do you want to make money? Do you got 4 hours to spend every week on this? Here's what you got to do.
Yeah.
You set it up, and then it's automated.
It's
Like
all
what's
about making your life better. We're like that, and like I said, like you were touching base on what you were saying is like we live in this like generation right now. I don't know if that's the right term or just like timeline right now of like I say if I'm watching like TV before I go to bed, I'm watching YouTube and stuff like that. 80% of what I'm watching is watching reviews on stuff. And I'm trying to make my life better. I'm trying to make my life easier. And I'm trying to enjoy more things out of life rather than the monotonous bullcrap. Whether it be dishwashing, whether it's video game stuff, things that you do on a daily basis or anything car maintenance, anything like wiping the snow off my car. I got one of those snow joes and stuff like that. Like I'm always
right?
looking for something. And like a long time ago, if you think about 20 years ago, 15 years ago, there wasn't an avenue for everyone to easily describe and give you an opportunity to see what your product is to make your life better. We're like, and I'm the kind of person right now where if somebody says, "Hey, you can save a lot of time by doing something like this and it'll make your life easier," I'm all about it. Like I've always been about that. Where like I was doing it the other day where one of my favorite things I bought recently was a Ryobi battery powered leaf blower. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't really have many leaves at my house, but I use it for getting bonfires going. And I was even using it to like blow out my tiki torches, where it was like that thing is just like so convenient, where I'm all about convenience. And bidet, number one, convenience. 10-foot charging cable, convenience. Like things just making your life easier. It doesn't matter what it is, or like, people pay a lot of money. Just like you want to be able to enjoy your life more. You want to be able to that's kind of like the I forget what the pyramid is there, but it's like livings down here of like your housing, your shelter,
Mm-hmm.
your job, money, and then it goes all the way up, and like up at the top of the pyramid is like art and music and like things you don't need to live, but it makes life more
Right.
enjoyable. And you want to be up at the top of that pyramid, and you want to be able to enjoy that kind of stuff and not worry about your shelter, you're this, you're this. You want to enjoy that stuff up there. So you want to find things that take care of the stuff down low to make your life better. You know what I'm saying?
But I wonder like when you talk about like generation or time that we're in and all this kind of stuff, and there's such a big push for I don't know if you want to call it a side hustle. Hustle to me,
I think it's like
if
something that was branded from like Jay-Z or something like that. Like you got to hustle and stuff like that. And it's like,
yeah.
it's just like a term they use to like describe like, just trying to be an entrepreneur. Like you're trying to make money and you're trying to like do things for yourself and like not your main focus. Where like I don't
But
like calling it a side, I don't like calling it a side hustle. I think it's kind of like a goofy term to me. Like
well,
it makes it sound like cheap.
go back 10 to 15 years. If you called anything a hustle, I was
Yeah.
hustled. Somebody pulled
Yeah,
one
it doesn't
over on
sound
me,
good.
right?
Yeah, you were, yeah.
It was like you were conned, where now it's like you're side hustling. But I guess my question is if everybody is trying to do a side hustle, is it going to be a bad thing? Because everybody's trying to look for the quick, they want to get internet famous, they want to do this. We enjoy doing this, by the way. We play
Yeah, this
games
is
enough.
fun.
We
Yeah.
we talk like this is just entertaining for us. If this grows into a community, even better. But
Yeah.
I think the main thing is everybody's looking to do the social media stuff. Everybody's looking to do these side hustles. But is it a fad or is it something that's the new norm?
I forget who quoted this or where I got this from, but it was something that stuck with me since like college. But the only reason we have a job is because they haven't figured out a way to automate it yet. And that's like true
It's
with
a good
anything
thought.
where,
Yeah.
if the only reason we have jobs and what we're doing is because they haven't figured out a way to properly automate it yet. So we're getting to a point with a lot of stuff where they're automating everything. Everything's going to be automation. We're like, like the last stand of a lot of the stuff's going to be like truck drivers, where, once they can get rid of that, it's like there's so many truck drivers, there's so many fast food employees, like you name it, where everything's becoming automated. And like that's the
Hmm.
kind of thing is like the next step, you're trying to make your life, everyone's life easier and better by automating. Like even McDonald's, right? I remember that being a big fight 20 years ago. Oh, you're gonna have robots make your food and stuff like that. It's like I definitely eat more fast food than I should. And I have no qualm, no beef with anything about if they had it all automated. How many times they've screwed up an order, how many times like there's been a human error, and it's like I'm okay with getting rid of that. Like, there's so many things
Yeah.
that it's like, focus on something else, make something else better in life now. No, and now you don't have to worry about your crappy, you're doing your job that you don't like, go find a side hustle if you want to call it that. Like, try to be a little more creative than just working your butt off to make me a cheeseburger. You know what I mean? And it's like,
It's
I don't
just
know.
interesting because it's like that's the main focus, right? So
Yeah.
I think there's less. I'm curious what the statistics would be if there's less people going into, um, what do you call those? Train job
Job fair,
occup. Was it
job fair.
not job fair? Skilled workers,
Oh,
skilled
like
jobs.
if you wanted to go like to a welding school or something like
There you
that.
go. Yeah, like if we have a decline in that just based on like the time we're in right now, because they're like, well, why would I do that when I could do this thing, right?
Yeah.
But I actually, as I say that, I know that there's even side hustles for people that are real estate people or welders themselves, who are like, well, you're working for this company, but on the side, as long as you don't have like a non-compete clause or whatever, why don't you
Yeah.
do something like this, or you make these and you sell them on freaking Etsy or something like that, right? Welding art.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think that's why people do a lot of the side hustles, where I know that's why I do a lot of stuff that I do, or I do a lot of the eBay sales, and I bought that little I shouldn't say little, that big commercial laser and stuff, where it's like
Yeah.
it's supplemental to what I do full time, and it's just it's awesome to be able to be creative with it and be able to do what I want with that kind of stuff. And like the stuff I find and sell on eBay is just a lot of fun. Of just like I like tonight after we get off here, I got a couple auctions next week that I get to see the previews tonight for the first time, and it's like to me it's fun, right? Like a lot of stuff I've
Car
learned about
auctions.
things. What's that?
Or no, car auction? What kind of auctions?
Just like estate auctions, antique auctions, stuff like that, where
Okay.
I've kind of got out of the car side hustle just because the car market's so crazy, and it's just kind of it's difficult, and it's getting more
Yeah.
difficult in New York State with just like inspection stuff. And like they have like new rules now where even like the airbag, you need the airbag light to be off the pass inspection on any car. And it's like usually you have to disclose that the airbag light's on stuff, but like as a used car salesman, like you're trying to sell like a 93 Integra and it's got an airbag light on it, pretty much just makes the car worthless. So yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of got out of that. But like I like antique stuff. I like going, I've been doing I love like antique radio equipment, antique camera stuff. That's like my favorite stuff. But like it's always cool, or typewriters, all that kind of stuff. I've sold hundreds and hundreds of that kind of stuff. And
Oh wow.
that's the kind of stuff I really, really like doing. And like that's the stuff I like concentrating on doing, just because it's like historical and it's kind of fun to think about, repair them, use them, do them a little bit, and then sell them on eBay and make some money with it.
You do the garage sale thing where you kind of look at any of
Yeah. Oh
those?
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I've made some of the most money off garage sales, where like I've been really bad about it this year just because I've been so busy with real estate photography and whatnot. But if I drive by a garage sale, I can stop over, and I mean, it's amazing the amount of money you can make with that flipping and kind of stuff like that. I've been doing it forever. Like it's when I was doing it before, it was like a non-glamorous kind of thing. And now it's kind of like a glamorous thing where people are always talking about being flippers and stuff like that. And it's like I
Yeah.
have made money on some of the strange I've sold fake legs. I sold a prosthetic leg. That was probably one of my favorite things I've ever sold
A
down in
fake leg.
I went down to Florida to do an auction, and there was a prosthetic leg in a big box of stuff I bought, and ended up selling it to a guy in Brazil that messaged me saying, "Hey, our healthcare is terrible down here. My wife really needs this leg. They want 4 grand down here." I ended up selling it to him like super cheap at like $400 or something like that. And he like
Wow.
was like the most happy person in the world, that it was like the right size, the right everything. I'm sure they could change things around and stuff like that, but like
Sure.
the amount of like you wouldn't believe the things that are worth money. Where I don't know if I told you about the vintage motorcycle helmets I sold. I don't think I ever told you
Uh-uh.
about that.
No.
One of my dad's buddies, he just comes across tons of stuff. He's kind of one of these like old guys that's got tons of connections, and he's always got crazy stuff. And he gives me all this stuff to look through, and then I have a dumpster at my house. And I throw everything away that it's not worth anything. And I was just for fun looking at he gave me like a big box of like old vintage motorcycle helmets, and I'm like, they're worthless. They're stupid. I don't want to do anything with these. But you know what? Screw it. You always got to look things up. Why not? Not exaggerating. The one helmet, 19 probably 70s Bell helmet. It was a Bell GT, I think it was. I think I
Okay.
sold it. I can't remember. It was old like 70s Bell helmet, full face motorcycle helmet. And
Yeah.
I put it on eBay just for fun for like $700. Dude, it sold within like 25 minutes for $700. An old like if I showed you a picture of this thing, it was like beat to death in a garage, and there was like the insides of the guts of the helmet were all gone. It was falling apart. It was all dinged up. $700. And if you had like a
Somebody wanted
pristine
it.
one, they sell like crazy. And I sold a couple of the other ones for like $200-300 a piece. I mean, there was all sort. I mean, the stuff that sells for money is you would not believe the amount of money you can
It's
make off things
crazy.
that are just wild. I
Yeah.
mean, most expensive typewriter I ever sold. I bought it probably for like $30. It was like this orange or excuse me, green, older, whatever typewriter, looked kind of cool, you know. And
Yeah.
I know them enough where I'm like, oh, that's a $250 typewriter all day, you know, whatever. That's $200. I take it home and I put paper through it to test it. And it's all in cursive, like the writing's all cursive. So every letter has like a little tail on it that connects it to the next letter and stuff like that. Dude, I sold that thing for like $800 to some dude in China or Taiwan or something like that. And it was like, I would never in a million of years thought that that thing was worth that kind of money. Like, and you would never know. I thought it was like a $200 typewriter. That's like the going
Right.
rate for like an average typewriter. But because it had the cursive font,
Uh-huh.
it made it like insanely rare. Even one of my favorite ones was there's two good ones I got was there was a camera, and the Olympus back in the day made the pen series, and there was like the pen E, the pen S, and there's like all these different types. I had this box of cameras. I bought these big lots of cameras, and there was this little black one called the Pen W, and I'm like, I'm just gonna look it up. You know, the Pen E isn't worth that much. You know, they're like $60-70 things. Dude, these things
Right.
sell for like $700-800, and the only reason it was worth money was because it was so rare.
Yeah, we're gonna call it on that only because we got an hour and 20,
Yeah,
and we don't have an editor yet. I am the editor. Be nice to get an editor someday.
it would be
If you're
nice.
if you're watching this and you're a
You
video
want to edit?
editor and you want to
Hit us
edit,
up.
let us know. I am go ahead. What were you gonna say?
That was two things about editors. Is did you know that Whistling Diesel and Cletus like edit their own videos to this day? They
No.
do like 90. Yeah. I was watching Cletus. So when Cletus, they have like cinematic stuff where they have like some crazy intros and stuff. They pay for somebody to do that stuff. But a lot of the other stuff, Cletus still edits his own videos. And Whistling Diesel still does his videos. He put a thing on Instagram like a month ago saying, hey, it's that time. I got to start finding a video editor. I will pay you like six figures to do my videos. And like he's still doing his own videos. Like to me, that's amazing. Like
Our
it doesn't make
friend
sense to me.
our friend that does the podcast, I told you she does Crime Weekly. Pretty sure it's
Yeah.
Crime Weekly. Shout out to Crime Weekly. They have a video editor.
Yeah.
And it sounds great in theory only because I think you can pump them out fast. Well, not faster. I should take that back. You can be much more scheduled, I think, with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because between everything that you and I have going on, your work, side hustles, me with work, I'm doing streaming, I'm doing the reviews, I'm doing this. Like, it takes a lot of time just
All
to
that
edit.
butt wiping that you're doing and wasting your time in the
All the
bathroom.
butt wiping with no bidet. That's a
You're
full
just
time
take up your whole.
job.
This is nonstop.
It's a full time
time-
job.
no time
Nobody
for
is gonna
anything.
watch any video or review I ever make ever again
No, that's not true.
after this
I'm sending it
podcast.
to everybody that's got bidets now, and they're all gonna watch. If you're listening and you make it this far, you got to comment about owning a bidet and me sending you here.
Yeah, comment down below. I would be really interested to see who uses bidets and not. And hold the toilet humor if you can, but it's going to be a tough one down there. So this is what I would say. So second podcast, I think we're getting on a roll here. It's feeling
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
feeling good.
Definitely.
We got your cam set up, which is good,
Yeah.
and eventually I'd like to see. I mean, we live so far away, though it's kind of tough. But maybe every now and then we should do a get together, and I'll do a set here, and we can be in person.
Yeah, I
and
mean, I'm not opposed to like coming over for like a leave on a Saturday and stay the
Yeah.
night, do a podcast, and leave in the
Yeah.
morning or whatever. Too, you know. I
The
mean,
other
you're only like 2.5 hours away or 2 hours away. It's nothing.
I don't
I
even think
drive-
that. I think we're like an hour 40.
Really? That's nothing then, because I mean, I drive an hour for jobs. Like tomorrow, I got a job in Newark, and it's like
Oh yeah,
that's not bad at all. I mean, I
yeah.
got no problem driving. You know, if I got nothing going on during the day and I can leave here at freaking 3 o'clock, be there by 5, do a podcast, hang out, get some food, and then come back, I got nothing wrong with that.
And not that we're not enough, but we should get a guest on or two.
I have like, cause my one buddy Matt, I'm sure he's gonna listen to this. Not Matt Heim, but my other buddy Matt. He listens. He enjoys it a lot. He's got a lot of experience with a lot of different things. You know, he's done. You know, he's got a lot of life experiences, and he's a articulate kind of person. Hein is a great guest to have.
Hein would be great.
Hein has like so much energy going on and stuff like that. We've already had Kyle on. I mean, Kyle was he was having a good time playing Call of Duty the one time. He's never been on the podcast, but
I was gonna say, oh yeah.
On the podcast, but you know who he is and stuff. But I mean, every once in a while to get a guest, you know, if we have something specific to talk about or have somebody come in just for a little bit to interview them on something that they're really good about, you know. Heinz got his stream, you know, his D&D stuff. So I mean, I don't know much about D&D. That'd be kind of cool to have Shauna and Hein come in for a D&D stream to like question. I don't like know
to
much
just
about
explain it, right?
Yeah,
like explain
like,
more
I
about
know,
it.
I learn more and more as it goes on, like watching their thing and stuff like that. But like, they've legitimately, those 4 people have been doing that for like 5 or 6 years every week for like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
and
shout out to Big Bad Evil Game, who's
on Twitch.
Shauna and Matt's on Twitch. Shauna and Matt's I'll throw it up here with a display here somewhere. Their Twitch link. By the way,
fun to talk to.
Speaking of that, are you going to start streaming again?
I want to. I mean, I think it would be kind of cool where hopefully my computer, I mean, at one time this thing was badass, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know if it's been a while, but now I got the green screen and I got the, you know, that's why I've always wanted to do it. I mean, I streamed like a year and a half ago was probably the last time I did it. I would definitely be interested in doing it.
You mean that's not a real background behind you? No? Oh, that's hilarious because I haven't even put it there yet, but it's going to be something great. Could be the Taj Mahal. You don't even know right now.
That would be amazing.
But I appreciate you as always. I think we'll call it there, and we'll be back in probably another week or so. I'm trying to get them regular, but you know, life, man.
Regular as we can.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody that's watching, listening. Drop a comment below. Make sure to subscribe and like it because that just helps for the algorithm so you can kind of see more and more of us. And suggestions of like what you guys want us to talk about next would be great. It's probably based on this conversation going to be more bidets. So you could thank Bean for that one.
Yeah.
But other than that, we'll call it there. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Yeah. See you guys.